ETH is running up very quickly, and I just sat down with Tyler Hill to discuss where it could go from here, what you have to look out for, what you should be careful of. Are we seeing big pullbacks in the future? Are we going to see it run to new all-time highs here very soon? Also, is it too late to buy Ethereum this cycle? We'll be going through all that. I'm going to leave Tyler linked underneath the video so you can check out his channel. Also, if you want to trade crypto, check out the link underneath the video to BYDeFi. You can start trading in just a few minutes. You can trade all different kinds of assets like Ethereum using leverage. And we have a trading bonus going on right now. It's called a competition, but it's not really a competition. Just depending on how much you trade, you can get access to this prize pool. And the more that everyone trades, the bigger this prize pool gets. We'll be giving away some of this to random people. And we constantly come up with ways to give money back. Like we just did an XRP giveaway and over $6,000 is being given back to the community. You can go claim that and get your rewards. We have a reminder on the Telegram how to do that. Also, I just answered a question. Is there hope for small investors? Is it too late? I'm a small investor, maybe feeling a little bit discouraged. I just filmed this video exclusive for the Telegram. It's completely free. You can join the Telegram underneath and check out this video. It takes like 2 clicks. So check that out underneath the video. And again, special thanks to Tyler. He did not have to do this, but he went out of his way to film with me for a while. So check out his channel underneath and let's get into it. Tyler, thanks so much for coming back. What do you think about the Ethereum chart right now?
Yeah, I mean, ETH's price is looking really good right now. I think I can speak for everyone that we've all kind of been waiting for ETH to give us something, and it's given us something, all right. So I'm on the weekly chart right now, so I'm obviously going to be a little bit zoomed out, but the picture is painting itself. ETH had stalled out a little bit over the last couple of weeks. We did see a little bit of that sideways movement from July 21st all the way up until this week, but ETH woke up. I mean, if we go down to the daily candles, you can see what happened here. We saw ETH run all the way up to that same exact point of resistance it always hits. This previous point back here from December of 2024, from May of 2024, from March of 2024, it ran into that same level and it slowed down. But you were telling people, and I was telling people, listen, this is going to be a natural little pullback, right? Don't be surprised to see ETH cooling down right here. But if ETH can come back down and find some support, it wouldn't shock me whatsoever to see ETH try to actually make a run through this green box, through this key zone of resistance. And listen, that's exactly what ETH has done. It made an absolutely beautiful move. We're currently sitting right under $4,500, and it's completed one of the 2 main steps that it needs to do right now. So kind of the way I've been looking at ETH is that there's 2 key things, 2 key steps that it needs to take. Step number 1 is getting above this more local point of resistance. We had those 3 massive zones of resistance sitting directly above us, as you can see here, that slowed ETH's price down every single time. And we needed to get above it. And now that we're above it for the very first time, getting the weekly close above this key point of resistance, what does ETH need to do? It needs to make the run. It needs to go and break that magical level, that legendary level that it hit right around $4,900 back in November of 2021. And the fact that ETH right now is sitting directly below the same exact level that we were in November of 2021. And Sam, you know this. Think about how it felt in 2021, right? The fact that right now, while things are still pretty quiet, ETH is sitting directly below this level, I think it's insane. And so overall, I mean, I think ETH has made a beautiful move. It's made a fantastic move. It's broken through the first step. Now the goal is just to get past that second step. And hey, if we can get through this second step, I think it's open season. I think ETH pushing over to $7,000 and above could very likely be a card on the table. So I think things are getting juicy to say the least.
Yeah, and the difference now is, of course, there were retail buyers last cycle, but now you look and there are 3 or 4 different treasury companies that are buying hundreds of millions and billions of dollars of ETH. And then you have BlackRock and Fidelity. I think BlackRock bought $600 million just yesterday, and it's their hedge fund clients, so they could always sell, right? But it's interesting to see the difference between that and then last cycle where everyone was just like, this is going to take over everything and everyone needs to buy. And there is no bear market. We're going to see $10,000 ETH and then we fell flat, fell short of that. But do you think we're at that point now where there is no bear market? There are no pullbacks. Should you go in like completely with all your cash right now?
Sure. So I don't think that we're going to enter. I don't think that a period in time where cryptos don't pull back and slow down and they just absolutely rally straight upwards. I'm really starting to become skeptical of whether I think that's going to happen again in general. And the reason why I say that, and I know that's a bit of a hot take, but the reason why I say that is because what we've come to recognize is that 2025 is the year of the lizard, is what I call it on my channel, lizard people. But it's a year of manipulation, right? And every single time that we've seen a move upwards, it's followed by what? some sort of move downwards. And it's where a lot of frustrations come from in the market recently. Your comments have probably said it. Mine have surely said it, where people say every time we get a pump, it's followed by a dump. And it's for a reason. The reason is every single time this market moves upwards, people are going to bet that it's going to continue because greed overwhelms them and FOMO introduces into the market, right? And if that happens, there's easy opportunities for these people who I believe control the markets in some way or another, can jump in, liquidate those investors, and then allow these assets to continue in the direction that they're going in. So in a moment like right now, all of that to say, in a moment like that, right now, look, ETH's going up. It feels good. It's great. Don't get me wrong, but go look at what's happening. As soon as its price started going up, what did people started doing? They started betting like crazy that it's going to continue to go up. You look at the one-day charts. Look at all of these leveraged long traders betting that each price is going to continue upwards. Look at the 7-day. Look at the 30-day. This one's a little bit more concerning, right? A lot of people are betting that ETH is going to just absolutely fly. And although I do love the sentiment, the truth is these sorts of injections of, long trades and leverage during these pumps are the very things that have caused the pullbacks to happen. So I'm under the opinion that we're probably going to see moments where ETH does continue to pull back, where it does cool down, where it does slow down, where it does retest. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. I think in those moments where ETH does come back and it does pull back a little bit and slow down, it allows for a continuation over a more long, a longer time horizon, because it rinses those short-term investors out, right? So the people who jump in heavily on emotion, heavily on these big leverage long trades, they're oftentimes the reason we get these ginormous blow-off tops, because once they're out, they're out. Whereas what's happened recently, and the reason why you're seeing these blow-off tops become a lot less common in the crypto market, is because as we're climbing, we're shaking those investors out along the way. So we have much more of a sustainable growth curve. And so for me, no, I actually think that ETH is going to have these periods where it does calm down. The question is, where does that happen? That I have no idea. So
yeah, and I think your mic might have switched over there, but kind of how I see it, and you can tell me if I'm completely wrong here. We obviously have some resistance around 4,800, 5,000, somewhere in there. I feel like we could see maybe a push up again to 4,600, maybe just short of where we've been in the past, so that everyone that wants to take profits, like right when we hit resistance, they don't get to. And then maybe we come down to that $4,000 support line, maybe 4,100, somewhere in there, just enough to shake out everyone that's even 10x leverage them, because it would be like a 15-20% move. Shake those out, then continue running. Is that kind of your viewpoint, or am I just thinking too simplistically there?
Sure. So, and how's the microphone? All good?
Yeah, it's good.
Good. So, yeah, I think that's a super reasonable assumption. I definitely think that's possible because, again, like you mentioned before, that little area, that $4,600 to $4,900 area, that's going to be rough. And the reason it's going to be rough is because there's going to be a lot of skepticism in the market. People saw what happened when we ran into this one, then this one, then this one. And even in this little moment, over and over and over again, ETH has really struggled to get going. It's really struggled to gain traction. And so because of that, what is going to happen is that people are going to start jumping ship the closer to this red box that we get. And you're probably going to see that happen sometime sooner than later. So I definitely could see a world in which we do see resistance really start to step in here between that $4,600, $4,800 level, start forcing that ETH price down, and try to see these bulls start to step out, right? Slow down, take their profits off the table, as they should. Now, an interesting thought that I've had recently, and I'm not going to say it's what I think is going to happen, but it is an interesting thought that I've had recently, is that ETH might just crush through it. And the reason why I think there's a chance that it just crushes straight through it is because so many people are going to be skeptical. We play this weird little ring around the rosy here in the crypto market where it's like, well, this should happen. And since it should happen, then it's probably not going to happen. But since it's probably not going to happen, it should happen. And it's this weird little thing. And I'm probably going to go on one of those little carousels here. But my thinking here is like, okay, this is resistance. Everyone knows it's resistance. Everyone's going to be a bit concerned about it. People are going to start closing down their trades, and people are also going to start opening up short trades as we do get close to it. And if enough people do that, what's going to happen is we're going to fly straight through it, because in some capacity that is max pain for these traders, right? So I definitely think it's possible we get rejected off of here, and I think it's the more likely scenario. Don't get me wrong. I do think it is more likely that we slow down whenever we get up here, just like we did back here. But I will say there is a significant enough likelihood that we do actually just smash straight through it, that it's worth paying attention to a certain degree that I'm not even closing down all of my position, right? So just because we're getting close to this, I'm actually not going full close. I'm not going to completely close every trade that I have, every purchase that I have, knowing that there would be a lot of pain in this market if we push straight up through it. So you have to learn to adjust and adapt to these lizard markets, these manipulative markets that we're in right now. But I definitely do think there's opportunity for both of those scenarios. So to summarize, I do think it's more likely that we do see it slow down and get rejected. Maybe even, come back towards, say, $4,000. Try to get a little RS flip or something like that going, right? But there is a growing chance that we just push straight through it to the point that I'm not going to allow this possible pullback to make me close down everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. It's interesting too to think back. We've hit new highs on Solana and XRP maybe, depending on if you're looking like a long time ago, but they just barely edged out the prior highs. Like Solana maybe by less than 10%, XRP the same thing. And then like we run up to the close to where XRP topped out last week, and then we fell short. So maybe the same thing happens with ETH. Maybe Tom Lee comes in with $3 billion and just sends everyone higher. I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I love the RS flip so much that we've seen that the last 3 times with Bitcoin where we saw some kind of larger pullback and it flipped. And I took my own advice this last time. And when we fell down to like 113, I thought, okay, we'll probably flip 112. So I did a 60x long and I was going to bed. So I added more collateral. So it ended up being like a 25x long. But I closed it just a few days ago and rolled all the gains into a 3x to kind of get ready for this next leg up, because when I get more aggressive, I take profits more aggressive. I could see people wanting to do that if we see that $4,000 pullback, and then you can put stop losses and stuff. But like there's so many bullish things happening in the background that I could see people getting a little bit more aggressive if we're at a good point. But right now I wouldn't be going like 50x long on ETH running up or anything like that. One last question. Do you think it's too late for Ethereum this cycle? Like if you want to buy ETH because you're seeing it for the first time, you're doing research for the first time, is it too late to buy now? Because we're talking about maybe busting through to 5,500. And like that's not a huge amount of gains for people in crypto, maybe 20%. But what do you say to someone just kind of coming in or allocating to ETH?
Of course not. I don't think it's too late. And the reason I think it's too late is, listen, I'm going to be super transparent here, and this is probably going to go against common emotion, but I'm not a huge fan of Ethereum. Like I'm not. I've been decently vocal about that in the sense that I have been around the Ethereum community, and the Ethereum community feels a bit abandoned by the Ethereum Foundation. There's just not been much leadership, nor guidance, nor marketing, nor exposure. So because of that, obviously, it's been every ETH person for itself, right? But at the end of the day, even through all of that, Ethereum has managed to phoenix from this, right? It was dead. It was boring. No one was talking about it. Everyone was talking about XRP. Everyone was talking about Solana or XLM or whatever it may be. And Ethereum said, watch this. And based on institutional investment and interest, next thing you know, ETH jumps. And that's exactly what we spoke about. I talked about this with you actually on this channel, on your channel, where we were saying, listen, ETH doesn't even really need retail anymore. All it needs is institutional interest. And institutions coming in is going to be the very thing. If they find something interesting, now you are de-risking, right? When institutions start buying crypto assets, those crypto assets immediately become less risky. And the reason why is, of course, they're not going to want to lose money for their clients. They're not going to want to embarrass themselves. I mean, we're in a world run by these sorts of companies. And this is a big, it's an ego battle happening between all these companies all the time. And they can't make it out that one's better than the other. So, of course, when an institution jumps in and they start allowing these purchases, they have a very, very strong built-in incentive to not allow that crypto asset to fall too heavily, right? And so the way that I see it is, sure, ETH may only have a 2x in it or a 3x in it. Do I see ETH going to 20K this market? Of course not. No, I definitely do not. But you could maybe get a 2, 3, 3.5x on something that I genuinely believe is much less risky now than it was 6 months ago. And so knowing how much of institutional interest has made an impact on ETH already up to this point, I think it's only going to grow. They've now smelled the flowers. They feel these gains that can come from altcoins that might open up doors of liquidity, that might open up doors of even more interest, them doing even more exposure to this asset. And to me, I just think that it's not that risky. There are still possible gains that can be on the table. So risk versus reward, sure, you can get better gains in another place, but you're not going to find another altcoin with as little risk as Ethereum has.
Yeah. I love that take, because I say that about Bitcoin a lot too. Like, sure, the price might be higher, but it's also never been less risky to invest in it, because from the standpoint of like, I don't know, something catastrophic going wrong, or, like there's so many tailwinds right now. Do you want to bet against like the richest people in the world and the biggest institutions and the governments all converging to try to innovate crypto? And it was interesting, like the SEC came out and said that they want to like tokenize a lot more markets, and like obviously that's going to happen on Ethereum. And the only way to get access to to crypto assets for like hedge funds right now is through Ethereum ETFs and Bitcoin. So yeah, it's interesting. We'll have to have you on again too, because I have a feeling that ETH's going to make a big move one way or the other in the next couple days or weeks or something. So we'll have to get your take on that too.
Absolutely, 100%. And I appreciate you bringing me on. And I think the exact things we've spoken about so much for Bitcoin are now being applied to the altcoin market in some capacity. And I do think you and I specifically have been speaking about this a lot. So it's nice to see the fruits of those ideas starting to actually, kind of come to fruition here. So it'll be interesting to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. I love watching alts run too. Even I talk about this all the time, but I'm like 90% Bitcoin. But I still love seeing other people make money.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like people make a lot of money in altcoins. And if you take profits, great. Most people turn to Bitcoin, I think, after a couple cycles because they're sick of the ups and downs and like worrying about their cryptos going away. So I think it's good for everyone when the altcoins go up, as long as you don't get suckered into buying at the top. But most people will. So, stay through to the next bull market and you'll make money. And watch Tyler's channel. Yeah, we'll have it linked underneath so that way you can stay along the journey. Don't get don't get fudded out of your positions or anything like that. Stay the course. Tyler, thanks so much for coming on. We'll have you back here soon.
Thank you, bro.
Of course. Bye.